All right, third graders, we are going to be comparing and contrasting. Remember, we have done this for a couple weeks now, but we do it once a week with our social issues book. Okay, so when you compare two or more things, you say how they are the same. When you contrast two or more things, you say how they are different. This should be review for you. So look at both of these bugs on the page. One's on the left-hand side and one is on the right-hand side. Both of the bugs have wings and antennas. So that would be how they are compared, and that would be how they're the same. However, one bug has two wings on the left-hand side and the other has four wings. So that is contrasting because that's how they are different. Now, normally I would have you turn to a partner and discuss a couple other things, but you're not able to do that. So we will move on. Remember that when we compare and contrast, we use usually a Venn diagram or a double bubble. Sorry, I had to blow it up a little bit, so I got to scroll. All right, so we are going to practice some comparing and contrasting. Okay, so as we are doing this one, if you think it's comparing, I want you to hop around on one foot 3 times. If you think this sentence is contrasting, I want you to do 3 sit-ups. So you need to back away from wherever you are seated and or where your computer is and find plenty of space, because some of you are going to be hopping on occasion and some of you are going to be doing sit-ups on occasion. And depending on where your computer is, you can either leave it on top of a table or desk, or you might want to even put it on the floor. But you need space. Okay, the sentence says, my nieces, Haley and Ella, are the same height. Do you think that is comparing or contrasting? Okay, so you need to start hopping 3 times if you think it's comparing, or you need to be doing 3 sit-ups if you think it's contrasting. All right, if you are hopping, you are correct. It is comparing because they're both the same heights. Okay, keep standing up. Here's the next one. Lucas has red hair and Noah has blonde hair. If you think it's comparing, you need to hop 3 times. If you think it's contrasting, you need to do 3 sit-ups. It is contrasting, so you should have done 3 sit-ups. Good job. Let's keep going. Okay, while they have many differences, Piper and Caden are both 2. This one's trying to trick you. If you think it's comparing, hop 3 times on one foot. If you think it's contrasting, do 3 sit-ups. It is comparing, because even though it says the word differences, it actually says Piper and Caden are both 2. That is comparing. So you should have been hopping. Let's keep going. Ruby likes to watch Pokemon, but Miles does not. Again, if you think it's comparing, you need to be hopping 3 times. If you think it's contrasting, you need to do 3 sit-ups. Yep, it is contrasting, so you should have done sit-ups. It's saying that one person likes this, the other person doesn't like it. So it's not comparing them. Okay, we have one more, so stay standing. Matthew is already prepared for college, and I'm not even sure what I'm having for dinner. So if you think it's comparing, hop 3 times on one foot. If you think it's contrasting, do 3 sit-ups. That is correct. You should have said it's contrasting, so you should have done 3 sit-ups. Okay, you can sit back down or get closer to your computer now. Okay, and I know that you probably can't see all the words possibly, but it is okay. I will read it for us and or move my picture out of the way. Okay, the title is Twins. Jay and George were identical twins and everyone confused them. They both had hair as yellow as the sun and eyes as blue as the sea. Everyone got them mixed up, their teachers, their friends, and even their family. The truth was, though, that outside of their looks, Jay and George were not that similar. George was in the Star Wars Club, was a member of the Math Bowl team, and enjoyed swimming. Jay, on the other hand, despised math, but he did love playing baseball and basketball. Even though both had the same last name, were the same height, and were kind, they were not the same when it came to their personalities. All right, so let's think about what they have in common. So we're going to compare them. And then we are also going to think about what they have not in common, so their differences, and we're going to contrast them. All right, so let's think about what they have in common. It said they both have hair as yellow as the sun, so they both have yellow hair. They have blue eyes. They both look the same because everyone gets them mixed up. They're the same heights. They have the same last name, and they're both kind. Okay, so that would be comparing them. Now let's look at their differences. So we'll start with George. It says George is in the Star Wars Club, on the Math Bowl team, and likes swimming. Jay doesn't like math. Instead, he likes baseball and basketball. Okay, so there are quite a few things that they have in common, which would be comparing, but they also have some differences. Okay, all right, let's move on to our last slide. This one is called Paris or London, and we're going to do the same type of thing. We're going to be looking for comparisons, and then we're going to be contrasting them as well, so looking for differences. Have you ever wanted to go to another country and visit a famous city? Paris and London are two of the most visited cities in Europe. Tourists pile in by the millions every year to visit these cities. Both cities have towering buildings that make their skylines easy to identify. London has its famed clock tower, Big Ben, and Paris has its extraordinary Eiffel Tower. Both are incredible cities, but have some vast differences. If you go to Paris, you will have a hard time understanding the locals as they speak French, while in London, you will hear them speak in English. London and Paris are cities rich in culture and delicious foods. Which city would you prefer to visit? All right, let's start with what they have in common. So it talks about how they're both famous cities. It talks about how they both have towering buildings and easy skylines to identify. It talks about how they are incredible, or they have incredible cities. It talks about how they have delicious food and they're rich in culture. So that would be comparing them. Now let's think of opposites. So contrasting, what are their differences? It said in London that it has the clock tower, Big Ben. In Paris, it has the Eiffel Tower. In London, they speak English, but in Paris, they speak French, so we wouldn't be able to understand them. Okay, so that would be comparing and contrasting Paris and London. All right, I need you to go back to Google Classroom and see what you need to do next. Enjoy!